I know we talked a little bit about the ice time stuff the other night. I don't really care about that so much, but just your assessment of Phil's second game back and what you thought of him in game one.
I thought he was good. If I'm being honest, I thought as a group, so he's included in that, we needed to be a little bit more impactful inside the game. It got better as the game went on. You're chasing a game too, and so there's you're rolling lines that might be different if you're up 3-0, but I think he's been good. It's been a process and continue to get better.
Sticking with Phil, just how have you seen him adjust to playing on the wing, and I guess what do you like about him in that spot too?
Probably too early for me to even talk about it. Again, the minutes we're down as we're pressing in the offensive zone, and you got Mika's line going, you got Troch's line going, you're taking Goody's line on a D-zone face-off, and so the roll, and if you catch a power play or you catch a penalty kill, it just kind of interrupts things. But he's been working on it in practice. He's got 2 games under his belt, whereas there might be 16 minutes of ice time since he's been back. I think it's a little too early to tell, but I do think that there's been times inside of both games where the puck's been on his stick and he's had his moments, and just try to build off of those and build on that.
Peter, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, about how you react to a loss, especially at the beginning of the series. Fine line between overreacting. If you decide to make any changes with your lineup, how do you kind of walk that line of wanting to give the team a spark versus maybe looking back at game one and saying this wasn't maybe as poor a performance as some people want to make it out to be because you didn't score?
I think you always look at your lineup and you evaluate it. I don't necessarily know if it's that. I was pretty honest. I think we're capable of playing better. I think we did good things. I think the scoring chances we generated, although there weren't an enormous amount of them, because that's just not what happens when you play Florida. I do think that we got 6 or 7 really good looks, and inside of that we need to make some of those looks pay off. I thought you mentioned it right after the game, I thought the execution could have been better. So there's things I think that you can just look at the lineup itself and not necessarily about if there's a move or not a move, but look at the lineup itself and try to get better with that game, with that plan, with that group. And if you make a move, you make a move. But I think we got to look at a bigger picture and look at getting better on the ice.
You've talked a few times about that Wenberg line, and all the good stuff that they're doing, the offensive zone time and such, and not a lot of goal production.
Yeah.
Specifically with Kakko, are you getting enough from him that you need?
I think the line has had good numbers. At the end of the day, you'd like to see production from everybody, and I think that inside of that, while I think the numbers have been good, every line I think can contribute. Every line can make a difference. I'd like to see Capo generate more production, but I'd also like to see Wenberg generate more production. So I don't think I don't know if you isolate one, but I think as a line you can look for them to generate more. Will's been up and down between the 2 lines, and Phil's been on that line, and so just production in general I think is important. We need to get a little bit more production from our back end. We could use a little bit more production from the 3rd line, and so individuals as well. I guess you could look at it like that.
Peter, one more on Phil. With each player, I would imagine you have a level of expectation for what they need to do, and they need to do that. With Phil, the level of expectation is bring the skill, bring the production, all that, but he hasn't played in so long. Is it the same with him, that he has to do exactly what Phil has to do, or you have to manage your expectations when it comes to him, even though you're in the conference final?
I think that there's with that player in particular, I think that there's a balance that you have to try and find, and we're trying to work through that as well. You've had a player who's missed a substantial amount of time, who's come back and worked hard to try to get back up to speed. I think with that, there's got to be some reps and there's got to be some opportunity for him to do that. I don't know if that's been crystal clear, especially last game. And then from there, to answer your question, there will be an expectation that, in order to get those minutes and get those opportunities, that has to be productive as well. And so I do think that he's put in a lot of work to give himself an opportunity to be back in the lineup, and I understand his capabilities and what he could do if he were to be the player that came to camp, but there was just an awful lot of time that was off for him. And so, this is truly the meaning of catching that moving train. It's moving pretty quick, and he missed a lot of time, and we're trying to get him back up to speed, and so we monitor it and see how he does in the situations.
We'll do two more, right side.
Peter, I want to make it clear I'm not asking about the lineup at all tonight,
Great.
but yesterday, if you turn on any hockey outlet, the question they're talking about is, will Matt Rempe play in Game 2? And guys like Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier and Henrik Lundqvist are the ones saying it too. You can't really turn it off or turn away from it. Just curious how close you pay attention, or if you totally ignore those conversations, or if it even affects your decision making. It
does not. Any decision that I make is based on the conversations that we have as a group internally here, and it's there's all kinds of you could pick any player. You can ask 10 people, and you might get 7 and 3 or 5 and 5. So I can't really make my decisions based on that. The players that we do put in the lineup, we're hoping that they have a positive impact inside the game.
Last one, left side. Peter, we talked before the series started about how physical Florida is as a team. Game 1, though, not a lot of stuff after the whistle, and if you look at the sheet at the end, the hits didn't seem to be outrageous. Was it less physical than you anticipated? And if so,
I thought that they had some good hits.
Yeah.
They had some. I thought we had some good hits too. Will had a big hit. Trouba had a big hit. Consistently trying to play the body when we can. I do think that after the whistle stuff was at a minimum, and that was one game. Doesn't mean how it goes this game. Doesn't mean how it goes as the series moves on and things ramp up a little bit. So I can't predict the future on how that was. I guess my point after the game is that I do think they took some licks on us. We tried to get some licks on us. That's playoff hockey, but there wasn't a lot of stuff that happened post whistle scrums and that sort of thing. So it was more whistle to whistle hockey. Hard, fast, physical. That's the way the game played out.
thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Peter.